Like I said, you have my phone number. You can call me anytime if you have a question.
I might. Don't be surprised.
Totally fine.
How you doing, Carl?
Hey, how are you?
Good.
Mr. Keith, how are you?
Good. Good to see you.
Nice to see you again. You might be our only member of the audience. 6:59, where's Trustee Slotty? Did he forget?
Better call
Yeah, because he's usually here
Yeah.
long before
Yeah.
the meeting starts.
That's why I mentioned it when I walked in.
Slotty.
It's 7:00. Well, we still have a quorum. Doesn't sound good.
That's his phone number. I'll let Sal next.
Well, that happens when you get over 70.
I thought it was 75.
Hi, Carl.
Do you know where your trustee number 1 is and why he is about the village hall for the budget hearing tonight?
You know, that asshole, he's not very dependable. You know, it's not on the calendar, we can't have a meeting.
Well, we're at 7 o'clock and we're like, hey, where's Jim? So I thought I'd call you. I don't know if you can make it or not. I don't know where you're at, but.
Across the street here.
All right, well, we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance and open up the public hearing. So if you can get here sooner rather than later, we appreciate it.
Yeah, I'll do that over.
Thank you, Jim.
Where was he?
He said, oh!
And an old place.
Are you loading it up on YouTube or something?
It's up and going.
Oh, okay.
I just need to change to the resolution.
New one, huh?
Yep. Dylan, how are you?
Good.
I hope I wasn't on YouTube orally there, but verbally.
Well,
Yeah, I
calling
think
him.
what I said
Oh,
was
I
right.
can't use that word. I don't know how well.
I didn't swear or anything.
So what did you?
Everybody's gonna know that Jim came
The,
a little late, so.
Levy amount. That's what was in the hearing for tax revenue, which is not
Okay.
100%, which includes some extra, not extra money, but
That DNR pilot money for
Yeah, I see.
Marsh and stuff, it's like $1,700. It's always
it should
wrong.
be more than that. Yeah, it should be 4,500. I thought it was accurate in there.
Make sure I write.
There's
all
something
of
else
them
in there.
all.
that's-
In that for DNR money.
It
Not the
doesn't
grant
matter,
money,
they're all
this is
gonna be
the-
signing
Yeah.
one,
Um,
not our sheet.
no, the line
Yes.
17.
My own
has,
personal-
Yeah.
If I don't write it on
What
there,
one
I'll
in
forget.
Managed forest is 700.
Yeah, managed for it is different than, that.
Oh,
The, line 17 there, their governmental, that's the payment from the DNR.
oh, that's the payment for,
Yeah.
okay, that's different, and
Yeah.
that was put in at 5.
Yeah, and that's really close.
Oh,
'Cause
okay.
it's like
I
set
thought
every
Marie
year.
would be here for sure.
I did too.
I have to go
I
look at
wonder,
the,
I should have called her.
you go on the DNR website, you type that in,
Okay.
it explains exactly how they
Yeah.
come up with it,
But
and you can get a
it'll
breakdown
go
of it.
fast. and-
All right, so managed forest lands and.
It's
ag
nothing.
lands are-
Is it different?
It's
Age use
different,
penalty-
but it's
age use
different.
penalty is when, somebody converts age to residential.
Right.
We just got a big
Yeah.
check, like $12,000 for it, because of.
People in Vernon don't complain about
Oh,
our
good.
taxes.
So, cause they have to pay, I
They
think
know.
it's $1.08.
I don't know
Something like
many
that
of
going
us
backwards.
use-
Yeah,
Some form
and
of-
then the county gets some and we get some.
They always, when they were in town, like we were, they were lower than us. They were that
That's right.
far.
They don't
So
send
low.
kids to, they can let them send kids to school.
Otherwise,
Maybe that's the
kind of.
Yeah, it is, yeah, it's
The
a
less
penalty
taxes
for
around.
converting.
converting because they're paying $2 an acre.
Yeah, they're.
I'm excited about the investment income.
Well,
It's 7:03. We need a.
okay, so you fix this.
Officially.
That. I've got motions to approve tax rates set up.
She's gonna wait for Jim to show up.
Well, we could gavel it in and get it started, I suppose.
It's gonna be quick enough, I'm not in a hurry.
Mic check.
Oh, yeah, we're.
Well, by the time I read everything in, let's get started. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Village of Vernon board meeting. Today is Monday, December 5th, 2022, 7 p.m. It's a special meeting to have a public hearing and adopt the budget. So I will call the village board meeting to order with the Pledge of Allegiance and a standing moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. Roll call and open meeting law compliance check.
President Fortner,
Present.
trustee Solani's on his way, trustee DeGrave is excused, trustee Newman,
Present.
trustee Yashik.
Present.
This meeting was noticed and posted according to law.
Thank you. I will read the notice. Notice is hereby given that on Monday, December 5, 2022 at 7 p.m. at the Vernon Village Hall located at W249S8910 Center Drive, a public hearing on the 2023 proposed budget of the Village of Vernon in Waukesha County will be held. The proposed budget in detail is available for inspection at the office of the clerk administrator from 8 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. and on the Village of Vernon website at www.villageofvernonwi.org. This notice is posted inside and outside the Vernon Village Hall and on the village website. So with that, I will open the public hearing and give a report or a summary of the budget presentation. So welcome to the public hearing on the 2023 budget. I will present the budget. To save money, as in prior years, we paid our auditor to present the budget. Since I became town chairman and village president, I've been doing it just to save a little bit of money for our auditor. We are a village, so there's no resident voting, unlike a town that we were in the past. The board sets the tax levy, the budget, and the salaries of the elected officials and employees. Historically, and this year is no different, we adopt the budget in summary form in large categories of expenditures and not individual line items. That's the notice you'll see in the Waukesha Freeman and posted on our Vernon, inside and outside our Vernon notice boards. The individual line items are for departments, and there is a detailed spreadsheet, as everyone knows, by department and by line item within that department, and the departments are to follow those individual line items, and they're very useful in explaining variances between years from prior years, provide residents more information and transparency on our budget process. So I will refer to the 2023 proposed budget summary as published in our notice and present the highlights starting with revenues and the tax levy. The tax levy, as published, the tax levy for the general fund is $1,682,195, and for debt service fund of $269,093 for a total levy of $1,951,288. The published amount that I just said, $1,951,288, is the tax levy limit that the state prescribes. So we cannot exceed that amount without a referendum. The board can adopt a lower tax levy, of course, and on the agenda tonight is to adopt the total tax levy. This requires a simple majority vote of the board. Our auditor has reviewed our calculations here and will review the tax levy worksheet. The tax, or the mill rate, as people know, is calculated by dividing the tax levy by the total assessed value, which is now $1 billion, $23,017,900, and is expressed as a dollar amount, and as proposed, it's $1.91 per $1,000 of assessed value. Everyone should keep in mind that Vernon's share of their property tax bill is a small part of the total. The Mukwonago School District or other school district is a separate taxing district and is approximately 60 to 65% of your total tax bill. Other pieces of that tax bill include Waukesha County and also WCTC, and a little bit from the state. So our tax levy has increased from $1.80 per thousand in 2021 to $1.89 in 2022 to $1.91 in 2023. This has been explained in our newsletters and articles written by myself about our borrowing that we did in April and May of, we borrowed in April and closed it in May of 2021. We predicted an increase of approximately 10 cents in our tax levy, and it came in at between 10 and 11 cents. So we're right on our calculations and predictions. So that's the tax levy. Next up is intergovernmental revenues, and there the note of highlight is unlike last year where we were anticipating a contract with the Village of Big Bend for fire and EMS rescue services, that did not materialize, unfortunately. I think for both the Village of Big Bend and for Vernon, I think it was beneficial to both communities. So for 2023, we just took it out of the budget, and that was the biggest change in intergovernmental revenues. We'll get to fire department and the increase in the grant for the fire department when I talk about fire department expenditures. Charges for services, we're budgeting approximately the same amount. That can vary based on building permits, plan commission items, chargebacks to residents, and so on. But we're budgeting approximately the same. Our refuse and recycling rate is subject to a CPI increase. The CPI in the contract is capped at 3%, so your garbage and refuge special assessment on your tax bill will go to $168, up $5 or 3% of $163. Interest income. Interest rates have been historically low in prior years. If you're following the Federal Reserve and interest rates on your savings and money market accounts, they have increased 10 times, 12 times. They're expected to continue to increase per the Federal Reserve. We are using $40,000 of interest earnings, which quite frankly may be too low, but we have significantly increased it to reflect the interest rates that our accounts are earning. Transfers to other funds. This is part of the borrowing. When we borrowed our money back in 2021, we set up a project improvement fund to account for the borrowing money, because under the terms of the debt instruments, the note instruments, it needs to be spent on either roads or capital equipment. And as you can see, we are transferring the remaining balance of that project improvement fund into our general fund to pay for roads and capital improvements this year, coming up 2023. So that's the $315,314 you see there. Now on to expenditures. General government, these are big pictures. You can look at the detail in the spreadsheets. General government, generally we have 2% raises. The trustee salaries are frozen. There's 2 elections in 2023 versus 4 in 2022, so you'll notice a decrease there. There is an increase in professional services due to development. Part of it is going to be chargeback. Part of that increase on the planning side is going to be looking at our master plan, which hasn't been looked at. And we were going to do it this year, 2022, but we didn't get to it in 2022, so we expect to do that in 2023. We do have 2 looming issues: the Center Drive Bridge project and the old landfill on the corner of Highway 164 and Edgewood Avenue. So look for those possibly in the future, particularly the Center Drive Bridge. Public safety, fire department, there is an increase in pay in the budget, just like last year. There's 5-member duty crews, 24/7 coverage at Fire Station Number 1. The fire department budget also includes a one-time $126,000 grant in related expenses. So you'll see the fire department grant over on the intergovernment revenue side increased by $126,000, and you also see the expenditures to support that grant on the expenditure side of $126,000. So it's a little bit distortive when you look at the bottom line for the fire department, but it is that one-time grant. Public Works, we have budgeted $750,000 for roads, just like in the prior year. We are not quite ready to announce what roads are going to be milled and resurfaced. Preliminarily, these will be possibly be roads in the Hidden Lakes subdivision and north. According to our DPW director and engineer, they're next up for milling and resurfacing. I'm a little bit hesitant because we do have on the table with the Village of Big Bend Drive, and we will make adjustments if that project goes in 2023 or not. We will keep our budget, and we'll just what exact roads will depend on whether the Village of Big Bend, because that will be a joint project. It has to be. Capital outlays, we have $95,000 in there. There's $35,000 for new accounting software, $20,000 for document management, $10,000 for a chassis repair on a fire truck, $5,000 for the Vernon Marsh, which half is going to be covered by a DNR grant, $3,000 for a new DPW mower, $7,000 for a plow, and $15,000 for a tire balancer equipment. These items were not budgeted, if you will, for the debt borrowing that I referred to earlier that we did in April of 2021. $23 stormwater per ERU is unchanged from prior years, so no increase there. ARPA funds, if you're following the news, municipalities did receive ARPA funds. There was a change in the ARPA regulations that should allow Vernon to keep all of its ARPA funds. We received approximately $801,000 in total. That is not considered revenue under the accounting rules until it's spent. And so in prior years, even though we received it, people were asked, well, why isn't it shown in revenue? Because it's not revenue until we spend it. It's deferred revenue, so we account for it that way. And so you'll see this year we are spending ARPA funds, and so we were recording ARPA revenue, and it's being spent. So you look at the ARPA account fund balance, and you will see that it still has a very small balance, which is just basically interest on those funds. And you can see the amount very low, but it should be very, when we close our books for 2022, there should be higher. There is a structural deficit, if you will. I hate to use that technical term, but really what I'm saying is there's operating expenses exceeding operating revenues by approximately $105,000. That is being covered in effect by ARPA funds. General fund balance, we do have a policy. There is a benefit to keep that balance within that percentage that we set forth in our policy. It's difficult to put my finger on what that percentage exactly is because our books were closed very, very late in 2021, and in 2022 they're nowhere close to being closed. So it's difficult for me to assess where we are with the general fund balance, but I think it behooves Vernon to maintain that fund balance within those parameters as recommended by our investment advisor, the people over at Robert W. Baird. And the reason why that's so important is when we go to the debt markets to borrow, and if we need to get our credit rating, that's one of the things the credit rating looks at is that percentage of fund balance that we have on hand. If you look at our long-term needs, not only is the Center Drive project, but our roads continually need to be maintained, and our equipment, although we should be pretty much set until 2026 at the earliest, we do need to look at our facilities, including our fire stations, DPW station, this village hall, on a long-term basis. So again, I'm concerned about our general fund balance because of we're not quite sure where the 2022 budget is going to end up at, and as mentioned earlier about our structural deficit proposed for 2023. So in summary, it's $1.91 is your mill rate tax rate. That's approximately $477 on a home assessed at $250,000 plus 23 stormwater and $168 for garbage and recycling. Overall, from 2022 rates and fees, the increase is less than $10 on a $250,000 home. So if you have a $500,000 loan, it'll be between $15 and $20. So to give you an idea. So we're happy with that, or at least I am. And so with that presentation, I will ask for public comments. We have one member of the public. Do you have public comments? If you do, please come up. We'll turn on the microphone and state your name and address for the record.
Okay, state my name, address.
Yes, please.
I'm Keith Nault, address S64 W24 720 Susan Street. Very happy with the mill rate. Great job. Looks great. I just had a couple of quick questions. Number one, I'm very happy about the investment income. That's all through Robert W. Baird, correct?
No, that's actually not. Robert
That is
W.
not.
Baird handles the debt side,
The
the
debt
borrowing
side.
side,
Okay.
and we use American Deposit Management or ourselves over at Citizens Bank to invest
Okay, gotcha.
this is on the earning side, not the expense side. This is on the revenue side.
Okay. Could you tell me on the, didn't we have a sale of a DPW piece of equipment?
That was in 2022.
Okay, is that on? I didn't see it in there, the sale of it?
I think that just happened, Brad, and I mean just happened. Peter.
A wheeled excavator?
Yeah,
I'd have to go and look. That was prior to.
Okay,
right. It's prior than, I mean,
but that will be that's part of 2022.
that'd be part of 22.
Okay.
right.
How many cell towers do we receive revenue from in the village? Is it 3? Do you know? One's at Station 2. Is there one at Station 1?
No,
Just Station 2? And here?
there's one here, but that's, part of that is county radio, and I don't know if there's any cell tower antenna. One of our carriers took their antennas or terminated their lease, and we're gonna take their antennas down. So we'd have to look, I don't,
Okay. Not a big deal. Okay. And then monies received, we did get some money for COVID grant, correct?
that would be the ARPA money, yes. And
Okay.
before that, in '21, we did receive some other COVID-related
Okay.
money that we spent in 2021 in part on improving the ventilation system in this building and fire station.
Okay. Okay. That's really all I had. Thanks for keeping the taxes low. Looks good.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, no members of the public are here. I don't know, I didn't receive, sometimes residents email questions ahead of time, and I don't remember seeing any, any questions from residents. If we did, I try to answer them during the presentation or, but there aren't any that Brad, you didn't get any, did? Okay. Board comments. Trustee Dashik, we'll go backwards. Trustee Newman?
Nothing.
Trustee Solani? No, sir. For the benefit of the public, we did have a rather lengthy meeting and hashed out this budget. I think that was via Zoom, and we spent several hours wrapping it up in the middle of November 15th. Otherwise, I gave the presentation. I have no further comments from that presentation. Brad, do you have anything Thing to add, you're new.
Well, I mean, the only thing that's come up that I think, I don't think I lost in the shuffle, but, one comment was the capital item for DPW for the tire changing machine. You guys had asked about would that service all our tires, or not? It would only service, our, passenger vehicle tires, not our heavy truck tires. So any tires smaller than passenger truck. So I mean, at this point, my interpretation of all our capital items and the procedure for it will be is that, just because the budget has been approved and funds are there, does not give the department heads to go ahead and go out and purchase or make those purchases, that these larger purchases do need to come back before the board for final approval throughout the year. So,
Before they're purchased.
before they're purchased.
Right.
Yep. And so, I think just for the ease of everything, it could stay in there, that money would not be spent if that was a choice to, just so you guys are aware of it.
Right, I was going to ask about that. Thanks for bringing that up. We were under the impression that it would do the heavy truck tires, and we thought maybe it would make sense. And it does not. Those would still have to go to pumps. And as far as passenger tires, which would be the same tires that you and I and the residents all have on our vehicles, including our pickup trucks and SUVs, those also go to pumps when I ask Pumps Tires, which is in New Berlin, Muskego, Hales Corners, somewhere up on the Hales Corners interchange, let's say. And we have service stations right here can do tires, so I'm not sure why they're being hauled way up there when they could be changed out here. So I'm personally wondering why we need that. And you're right, as long as we have the board has a say-so of whether that's even ordered, then I'm less concerned about it because the board can then choose to spend the money or not. But if it's going to get ordered without board approval, then I would just personally strike 15,000 off capital improvements and adopt the budget that way. Trustee Solani?
I, for one, would not have gone along with buying it in the first place if we didn't have the truck tires, from our big trucks.
Right, the dump trucks
you know.
and the fire trucks, yeah.
Right, listen, that's the majority of the tires in the first place that we have to work with.
Right,
Completely agree. Smaller passenger vehicle tires are what, $25, $30 a tire to mount on the high side?
on the high, go to Martin's
Yeah.
Steakhouse. I mean, there are shops within 5 miles, let's say.
Completely agree.
So are you in favor of just, I mean, it wouldn't take long, Brad, to fix this budget, would it? Just-
Just be taken out of the,
We'd be reducing the transfer from other funds and reducing the capital equipment by 15. That'd be simple as that.
Yeah, I'd be probably more in favor of leaving it where it is, even though I think we're not gonna do it. That we probably won't spend it, if Fred said is correct. But it still leaves that option open, if we need to. But I'm also sure that we'll probably do some budget adjustment down the road, that might, we might wanna, we could do that all at one time.
I'm not opposed to leaving it in. And as Brad said, we don't have to spend the money just because it's there.
I think we should just leave it stay in the budget.
And,
Approve that purchase.
okay, sounds good. Anything further before I close the public hearing and go to motions, which I have drafted, and I'll read them? Anything else? Okay, with that, then I will close the public hearing and ask for a motion to approve the 2022 tax levy to be collected in 2022, 2023 for the general fund in the amount of $1,682,195, and for the debt service fund in the amount of $269,093, for a total tax levy of $1,951,288.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So then I'm looking for a motion to approve a special assessment for garbage recycling or refuse and recycling for 2023 in the amount of $168 per residence.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. Motion's adopted. Then the last motion would be to approve Resolution 2022-21, adopting the Village of Vernon 2023 budget. And our Administrator Brad Calder has given us a resolution with the number. I just wanted to double check those numbers in the whereas clause. I think those numbers are now correct. So we're looking for a motion to approve Resolution 2022-21, adopting the Village of Vernon 2023 budget. Exhibit A would be the exact public hearing notice, as discussed about the
make that
capital
motion.
equipment. Okay, further discussion? Like I said, the only thing I had was the structural deficit and the use of the ARPA money. It's just going to make future budgets much tougher on the future boards. So with that warning, or that discussion, any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Motion to adjourn.
I'll second that motion. Oh, discussion?
Question. This isn't what we normally publicize. This got all the detail in it. You normally use a one-page summary. Oh, I just don't have that here.
Yeah, in this packet, the very,
Oh, the backside of it.
the backside of the cover page
Yep.
is the notice. I'll show it up to the YouTube people.
That's what we're gonna post it on the website for a couple weeks and.
And in the newspaper, right. Yeah, had this because it was a little higher, bigger font to refer to instead of the one here. And then front and back in our little packet here are the actual detail. Okay, so we got a motion made and seconded to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We're adjourned. Thank you.